Hi, my name is Joel Magalnick, and this is the next in our series about how to make it easier for you as teachers who are now going to be doing their courses remotely on how you edit the video that you have created for each one of your classes. So let's get started by talking a little bit about some of the things that you can be doing so you're simple but also effective. First is, I just want you to remember that we are not looking for Academy Award-winning films here. This is something that you're going to need to be doing every day for the next little while. It can be quick and dirty. It can be a little bit rough, kind of like these videos that I'm doing are. I admit it. I'm kind of doing this on the fly myself. But they do need to be effective. Your students need to be able to learn. So once you've done the video, you've created it, you have a separate audio file if you're doing it that way. But now you need to turn it into something that you can actually share with your students. So let's first talk about the different types of software that are out there that you can be using. And like everything else in this series, I want this to either be cheap or free. So if you're using a Mac, then you have iMovie available to you. It's usually preloaded onto your machine, and if not, you can easily get it from the App Store. If you're running on Windows, there's a program called Video Editor 10. That's for Windows 10 only. And it works, I would say, pretty similarly to the way iMovie works. And the tutorial that I show you today using iMovie, a lot of these things you can use the exact same way in your Video Editor 10 for Windows. Next is there's a program called Adobe Premiere, and this is kind of an industry standard for video editing. It is expensive a little bit. There's a monthly cost with the entire Adobe Creative Suite that runs about $60 a month. You might be able to get an education discount, but it is more complex than iMovie, and there is a steeper learning curve. We're not going to go over that today, but if you've got experience or if you know somebody with experience who wants to help you with that and get you more up on how to use some of those tools, it is a more robust video editing suite and can allow you to do more things than something like iMovie would. But iMovie will work just fine. There's another program out there, quite a bit less known than Premiere. It's called DaVinci Resolve. And it's actually free because alongside the software, they have a lot of hardware that they market as well. And it is a very robust video editor, and it is easy to work with audio in there as well, and then package it up and get it ready for YouTube or whatever platform you're going to be using to upload and share the videos that you're creating for your classes. So what I'm going to do today is just give you a tutorial on iMovie. As we learn how to work with iMovie, keep in mind that if you're using the Windows version of the video editor, things should work fairly similarly. So we're going to get started by creating a new project. So just click on that big plus right there. We want to do a movie, not a trailer. And it will create a section to import media. You can go to the photos that are in your library if you want to, or you can just go ahead and take the materials that you've got and drag them in. So I'm just going to do those one at a time. You can see that. That's an audio file. Remember, we are recorded separate audio from our video. Plus, I'm going to take a slide from one of the classes that I'm going to overlay over the video part. So I just go ahead, I drag that video clip in, and then you can see there's a little arrow there that spreads things out, so I actually see the full width of the video. This one was lasting 6 minutes for that clip. And as you can see, I drag that sound clip in at the same time, and I'm shortening it down because do you see that one little peak right there? That is the clap that I made when I first started doing the recording with both the sound and the video. So what I'm doing now is you can see that there's that same peak, the audio track of the video, and I'm matching those up. And so what I'm doing is when I have that, the audio from my phone is now going to match the audio on the video. And you can see now that those did match up. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click, I am going to detach the audio. So we have two audio clips now, one that was attached to the video and one that's not. The one on the bottom is the one that came with the video originally. Take that audio, I'm going to select it and just hit my backspace to delete. They should be matched up now. And what I'm going to do, just test that the audio does match up. In this case it does. If you need to, you can edge it back and forth a tiny bit. And then what I'm doing is I'm just increasing that audio levels a little bit. And that way it's a little bit louder and people will be able to hear it much more easily. From there, because I have these slides that I want to overlay onto my video, so you can just have a little bit of separation between just you being stared at and some of the text or other items that you want to include. And all I need to do is find the spot where I want to put it, drag it down on top, and boom, it sits in place. And it's automatically set for 4 seconds. You can drag it back and forth to a lower or higher amount of time if you wish to. And then when you play it, it'll overlay. At this point, I'm going to split the clip. And what's going to happen here is now they're in two pieces. I can take that slide and just drop it in between, but keep in mind that it also pushes the sound over as well, so there would be a noise gap. If I want to put in other video, I could do that. If you want to zoom in when you are editing your video, let's say you need to do a close-up of something or just want to kind of add a little bit of dimension, go ahead and split the clip, and then what you want to do is just select the clip where you want to do the zoom. There's that little crop mark up there. And you have three options here. You're going to fit, which is basic, the Ken Burns, which kind of zooms in and out. Really what you want is crop to fill. And then you grab those little bars at the edge, just like that, and that will shrink, keeping your screen proportions intact. You can move it around to wherever you want that to go. Make sure you have the arrows to move it around. And boom, you click the check mark right there in the corner, and look at that, you're zoomed in. So let's take a sample of this. Zoomed in, boom, you're zoomed back out. But let's say you want to make it a little bit cleaner. You can take any one of these. Some of these are kind of awful, but just let's say take a cross dissolve. It's a single second, drop it in, and then we're going to do one also for the transitions between the two clips right there. Let's go back, test it out. Look at that, it's just like a nice smooth crossover. Really simple. So let's say I've got my video finished. I want to go ahead and save it. I'm going to go up to that upper right corner, but I'm just going to go save to a file. The resolution is set to 1080. You could do 720 and be fine. I'm going to click on next. I'm going to create a movie name and figure out where it should go, just like that. Click on save, and we're done. In order to use the Windows video editor, it's actually built into Windows as well. All you need to do is get into your Photos app. You see you've got Photos over there, and then to the right of that you'll see a tab called Video Projects, and that's where we are. So if we open up a new video project, it's going to give us a workspace. So we're going to call this Class 1 and hit OK. I'm just going to go ahead and drag that in, and it's going to load. And there you go. The next thing I'm going to do is, because I want to add audio in, first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to drag this down to my timeline, just like that. And we'll be able to move things back and forth. You can see where I am, where I come on. And it's got your timeline there. And then I add custom audio, and this is where I would put my audio track in. So I'm going to push on Add Audio File.
So bring it in, and there it is. So it's a little bit more complexer than it is with using iMovie, because it doesn't quite give you the options to line it up with the other sound like you could in that program. So you may want to just play with it a little bit, or you might decide that you're just not going to use it at all and use the microphone from your camera and just kind of live with it. This allows you to trim it, and you can put your mouse over there and then move it back and forth to wherever you want it to be. And then once you have it in place, you click done. And then you can see that you've got the single clip right here. And let's say that you wanted to do something like add something in. So let's say I wanted to start with me on video right there. So what I would do is, if I'm in that spot, I'm going to go and click on the trim button, and I'm going to just trim right over to the playhead where I am right there. And then I click done. And then the start of that video, you can see 0 is right where I am. There's not that stuff that was on beforehand where I wasn't in the frame. But let's say we're going to move over to, we get to a point, we're 1 minute in, I want to add in a slide. What I can do is, at that point, I can split the clip. It's just going to tell me, do it right there. I could move it over and click done. And it has split the clip right at 1:37, right where I had asked for it to be. So we want to move a picture in as well. I'm just going to go ahead and drag that in, just like I did with the video. And if I want to split this in between those two, I'm just going to drag it down, and boom, there you go. I want to go a little bit farther in, and I want to split it there. And then a few seconds later, because basically what I'm going to do here is I am going to increase my zoom on this middle clip right here, and I can go to, let's go onto this clip right here, and what we can do is we can just have that zoom in a little bit. It's not going to be like the Apple where it can actually control some of the zoom in and out, but what I will do is, you can see that I'm selected on there, add camera motion, and basically what that does is, if I want to zoom, start from the beginning, it'll zoom out, and as we do a sample here, it's bringing me back to that original clip size. I click on done, and what we can see is, if we're over here, and I just move this over, you can see that it popped out right there, and then it's zooming back until it gets to the size of this other one. So it's not quite as flexible as what you can use with iMovie, but it is fairly effective, and it will get the job done for what you need to do. To export this, you just click on the Finish Video button right there. You can do 1080 or 720. You can ignore the more options. Then you click Export, and it'll give you a folder to go to, and then you give it a title, and then it's going to go ahead and export, and you're all done.
Now let's talk about preparing those PowerPoint slides so you can turn them into images.
PowerPoint, and you have your slide deck here. And I would actually say that the amount of text that I have on here is a little bit excessive. So something like this might be a little bit more of a lower content here, but higher content when you're doing the explanations. When you want to put them on the video though, here is how you would want to do that. You go to your File menu, and this should be similar on a PC as well. And you're going to want to go down to Export. That will open up, and what you actually want to do is you want to choose JPEG or PNG. I like PNG better because it doesn't reduce quality. Save every slide, make sure that that is selected, or you're only going to get this current slide that you're on. Width was okay. When I go to that menu, you can see that it has created an image for every single slide. And then you can use those to drag onto your video once you're ready. Thanks again for watching. And for our final video, we're going to bring it all together so you're ready to make this delivery of your class to your students.